So the first thing I want to do is just recognize a couple people. I've got a couple students that have earned some certificates. The first one is Quentin. Quentin, why don't you come up here, man? This is Quentin. Quentin, I was very impressed by him. He's one of our subs, and he's also a student of mine. Taught him how to spray a little better, and also when I watched him prep, he just was amazing at it. He kept up with me foot for foot, like everything. And so I gave him an honorary prep master's degree, and I think he's already received it. And I got his gold star in my pocket. I will give it to him after the class. So thank you, Quentin. You were a great student. Very impressed by you. All right. And just for next time when we graduate these students in the third event in April 24th, we're going to have an awesome speaker, Chandler Widman. But today we got a special speaker I'm going to introduce after I'm done. But we got Sorrell Nelson, who's going to earn his epoxy journeyman degree, and also he's working really hard on his business certificate. He's got to know a lot of information and be able to sell, market, and just do estimates, and he's done a great job so far, so thank you, Sorrell. And I got something for him, okay? This is the Eagle badge that represents epoxy journeyman, and he's earned it. So there you go. Thank you, Sorrell. Congratulations. I'm going to talk about a couple things right now, and it has to do with the trades because I have a heart to help people that struggled the way I struggled. Okay, I had no coach. I didn't even know that was a thing until like probably just a couple years ago. It's like, you know, the basic idea of having somebody that knows more than you, that has been further, that makes more than you, to tell you what to do to get there. It's just should be a no-brainer. But for a lot of people, they try to figure it out on their own, and that's just not the best way to do it. You lose a lot of money, you lose a lot of time, and you get really frustrated. So I would recommend the coach route, where you find somebody who's done what you've done, that's professional, that can teach you how to bypass the roadblocks. Okay, so we're talking about from tradesman to business owner, how to scale your trade business in the modern AI era. Okay. I thought I was a business owner because I had a name and I had work and I had skill. If you're a business owner, you're not working in the business, okay? Actually, the idea is to duplicate yourself, at least the skills that you have, you need to teach to somebody else, and they need to find value in your coaching so they can take jobs and do them independently. That's a business owner. It's a systems creator, and it's the people developer. Okay, so if you have a business where you're not working towards developing other human beings to actually work that work by themselves independently, you don't have a business, you have a job, and you are the only employee in that business. Does that make sense? So don't, like, there's an ego thing. With me, it's like, I'm a business owner. It's like, no, you're not. Not if you're not scaling up. You're just stuck being an employee in your own business. If you're not on AI, you're behind. Okay, we do our estimates with AI, answer phone calls with AI. On high level, we do a lot of different things with the platform because nowadays it's speed to lead. If you don't get there within the minute, sometimes you'll just lose the job because people aren't willing to wait. And so you got to have systems in place to answer those calls right away. Without systems and automation, you're going to stay stuck working in your job, and you're never going to do what you want to do and see your family. Skill makes money, system build wealth. I can't tell you how many times I was working 7, 9, 12 o'clock at night, wasn't seeing my family, wasn't going home when I needed to, because I was the one who was the system, was working the business. And so to scale upward, you have to develop people. In order to develop people, you have to understand human nature and communication. And that's all the things that I teach. That's the things that my buddy Jimmy Lee, who's about to speak at Elliott Group, teaches that also. The biggest problem in the trade is most tradesmen are stuck trading time for money. One man, one paycheck. No systems, no growth. There's a book called Buying Back Your Time. Talks about 80% that somebody can do that you don't have to do so you can do what you want to do is better. That's great. Go for that. The people that you train is not going to do things 100% like you. But that's not how the game works. The game works is you pour yourself into them, train them, and then they have the skill at least at 80% you have, and you can deploy them to a job and they can do the job, and you can reap the value of having coach them to become more like you and get your skill so that they can carry that skill and that value to the next place they go. Now, I am eventually going to come to a point where I offer 1 hour a day for coaching for my students that are journeymen. If they're journeymen, I can deploy them. My son's here, he's 16, he's a prep journeyman. I can send him to a house, he can prep the whole house by himself. He's 16. Now, I've given him that confidence. I've refined his skill, and I've invested my time so that he can be deployed, and I can just step back, coach him for an hour, and say, hey, Ben, if you have any questions about masking paper or plastic, I'm going to go ahead and have you call on me. But it's 1 hour a day, right? I'm not hitting like 8 hours a day with 3 students at a job. I'm expecting the journeyman to tell the apprentice how he can be better because he already knows how to do it. I like organic leads. I like people that know me, that know other people, that introduce me to them. Then there's a trust link there, right? I did a lot of cold estimates this month, and man, it's like, oh, I got 4 other estimates. And I was thinking like, man, telling this lady, hey, when you were dating your husband, did you want your husband to be looking at all these other women, or did you want him to pick you? You know, but I never said that close, but I was like thinking about it. I'd have to have a tremendous amount of rapport, but I don't like competing for the work. I like being exclusive, and however way I can do that, I'm still learning from Andy and then Jimmy how to do that. But there's a way to close people. If a person is in front of you and they want what you have for the right conditions, you can close them. We just have to learn the right, communication. You've got people in the trades that are using AI that are multiplying their efforts because it's so darn efficient. Okay, I can write a bid in 2 minutes. That used to take me 2 hours, maybe. I can write in 2 minutes, just put in the right prompts. You've got to develop relationships. You can't get out of it. I've had people tell me, I just want to make money on the skilled trades and the labor. Okay, hit 50 grand a year. In fact, hit 30. That's where you're stopping, because you're not willing to venture into a discomfort zone and learn a new skill, which has to do with learning people and communication. You got to learn that. Clean systems and pricing. Basically, know your industry standard. What are they charging over there? Are you going to lower your price and cheapen yourself? Because that doesn't look good to the client. In fact, man, it took me so long to not race to the bottom price so I can get the job. If somebody can't afford you, then they can't afford you. You should be working the lead volume for law of averages and being able to get those high quality jobs so that you're not like begging in the street for the job that you don't even want, right? So go see yourself as a higher value, because you're never going to push past, how you see your value. Modern way, Google reviews. Got a ton of 5-star reviews. Thank you, Andy Elliott's group, for writing a ton of 5-star reviews. We did their epoxy floor. Social media videos. Hey, it's the social media age. You got free access to 4 platforms, probably 6 platforms. Post a video of your jobs, even just a before and after photo. People have seen your work. You have credibility. I take a picture with my clients sometimes, like, hey, what's going on? We do something fun, so that the people who like to have fun will hire me. It's like, oh, he's having fun, I want to hire him, right? Social media is just ridiculous for how many leads you can get just organically, because people are looking for you because you're exposed. Standard pricing sheets, estimate templates, job checklists, follow-ups. You got to be organized if you want to succeed in business. I've got price sheets. I've got a whole entire trade school system on video, over 100 videos on my platform, so I don't have to repeat myself like a broken record trying to teach somebody how to do a specialty skill. And I have a business course with videos that I can shoot out to somebody organically and just say, hey, Quentin, I got this idea. If you want to learn how to do estimation better, here's my video on that. Here's how you sharpen that skill to do that. I don't have to sit down with Quentin here and say, hey, this is how you do it. I can just send him the right information or the right person or the right video. This is just a short expert of this course right here I'm putting together, guys. And if you guys are interested in this type of information, I'm putting together a $297 course, and you can buy this course with a bunch of other things that I want to give you for people that are the first, second, third year in business, and they're like, I can't break through. I don't know the right information. In fact, I'd like to find somebody like you, or somebody like, my boy Amos or Joel, that's my coaches in the painting industry, that know more than I do, that makes 7 figures a year, so I can duplicate what they did. Why would I waste my time trying to figure it out with information I don't even know? So we have to be humble and coachable, guys. If you want to scale up, if you want to succeed in business, if you want to break past the barrier, you got to be coachable, you got to be teachable, you got to be humble, okay? And listen to people that have the results you want, because if they're spending time with you to tell you what you need to know to be successful, that's a very special thing they're doing for you. And I hope that you guys continue to come to the events. April 24th, we have another event with Chandler Widman. He was a former plumber. He works for Andy Elliott now. He's one of the coaches there, and he can show anybody at that level how to do that also. But I got a special friend. His name is Jimmy Lee. And this guy is just inspiring, because he had an old life. Now he has a new life. And he's going to be speaking on some of the things that they're doing at the Elliott Group. And he's been my business coach. He's been a good friend, a servant's heart. And I'm just really thrilled and privileged to be a part of his life and him be a part of my life. And so give it up for Jimmy Lee.
Hey guys, so actually first thing, I'm super honored to actually be here to be able to share, because watching your journey of actually being a mentor and helping guide people and showing people, how to be able to go out there and actually be productive in the community, man. I mean, that means a lot, because growing up not having a father, being there and having a coach like this for other people is everything, man. So yeah. I mean, you're literally changing the world by sharing a God-given ability that you've learned to help impact other people.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so I'm super honored to be here today, and huge congratulations, to the students that are going through, putting the work in, and so I'm super humbled to be here.
I appreciate that, Jimmy.
So my goal today, you guys, is to be able to share what I have done to change my life, to be able to share with you what's possible, right? Because I'm not here to motivate you, I'm not here to tell you what to do, but if I can share with you, a few things that I've done to help you, hopefully, you're able to take that and actually go home and actually make a difference, right? My goal is to have you to be able to see a little bit more, because you'll never out-earn your self-worth, right? Affirmations are so powerful because you only go as far as your belief, right? You guys are fine to sit down. So my goal today is kind of share my story, right? I'm from West Michigan. I was born to immigrant parents, and my parents never really showed me the opportunity of being a business owner. So I never knew how to be able to become super wealthy, but I learned working hard work from my parents who worked at factory jobs, right? So having the right mentorship can definitely collapse learning time frames. Having guys like Jeremy to be able to teach you different skills instead of going out there and taking all that time of making mistakes and messing up jobs, you're able to have a coach to be able to help you to be able to streamline the process. So my goal today is to help you guys be able to have 5 steps to be able to dominate your market. This screen is actually supposed to have a before picture. When I started on my journey of becoming this next level person, it started with me facing my reality. I was 65 pounds heavier, and my marriage wasn't on fire. I wasn't the person I am today. I wasn't the salesperson. I wasn't confident, because you'll never out-earn your self-worth, right? We all have a cap. And we all have a cap that we're programmed subconsciously by our parents, by our teachers, by our surroundings, by just the people around you. Regardless of if you are aware or not, you become the average of the 5 people you're around, right? The habits, you probably look the same, you probably drink the same things. If they're drinking alcohol, they're smoking weed, if they're doing the bad things, you got to make sure you're very careful with the people that you're around. So I was very careful when I made this transition of moving down from, I was in the Bay Area selling solar. I was a contractor, busy, never found time for my health, overweight, never got close with my wife. We were drifting apart, so I had to make some decisions. And becoming this next level leader doesn't mean you're going to be doing more jobs or making more money. It's about you taking a personal, just a list of what you're doing in your own personal life, and then becoming a better version of yourself. And if you chase the man over chasing the money, that's where you'll be able to find the gold. Because a lot of the contractors, they're not focused on that. They're sleeping. A lot of them are working way too many hours. A lot of them aren't getting home and spending time with their quality time with their family. They're not present at home, right? So having pressure creates leaders. So the one thing I know that energy wins markets, right? So customers buy based off of energy. I mean, how many contractors are out there that they actually don't take care of themselves, right? So if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not bringing the right energy, right? And maybe because you actually just start looking like everybody else. So that's why at the Elliott Group, Andy always preaches physical, mental, business. So we all have a little bit more that we can actually give when it comes to our physical fitness. I saw Jeremy start working out with our team and just completely stay disciplined. It's been what, 2 months now?
Yeah,
2, 3 months?
yeah.
And just doing the work gives you the confidence because you're outworking that next person. So if you're doing the work early in the morning, like you deserve to win. I know that I was up this morning at 4:30 getting ready. A lot of people are still sleeping. They're sleeping through, they're not making the time. And at one time I was always too busy to make time for myself. And then like after that, it's just everything else just you're always busy for it, So you've got to slow down and do the mundane, do the easy stuff, because sometimes the easy stuff, the small stuff, it compounds, and that's what makes the big changes. And then your team also mirrors you, right? So right now, if you're currently independent and it's just you out there, there's a reason why it's just you, right? You actually haven't learned how to be able to scale your business because you haven't become the leader to be able to lead other people because you can't lead yourself, right? So sometimes I see a lot of people that work really hard and then they haven't learned the skill to be able to go and scale. I mean, there's a contractor I know that he has not been able to scale over a decade. He's a pool cleaner. And if he doesn't work, he's not bringing any money in. So you have to be able to slow down and be able to teach the skill of becoming a leader, right? So it's not just working hard, it's about working smarter. And then the next one is actually basics beat talent, right? So a lot of people think like you have to go out there and just become extraordinary and just everything, right? And then they actually forget the basics. So the basics is making sure that you're like your integrity or your name. So if somebody calls you, you want to make sure you're always picking the phone up. You're always making sure you're responding back. Because in a service-based business, you earn a lot from referrals, you earn a lot from people, from word of mouth. If you do one, bad job, it spreads really quick, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing the basics. Make sure you're showing up on time. I mean, these are like, common sense stuff, but I mean, a lot of people are showing up late, and then, people like, I mean, the average homeowner, like, they'll be okay with it, but if you just keep on repeatedly do that, I mean, your name will just not be like, as credible, right? And then following up, spending time, usually, sending estimates on the same day. Is that something that's very common? Yeah. Because like you were saying before, speed the lead, right? Because like the clients nowadays expect speed when it comes to answering back to jobs, answering the phone. And so that's why using technology is so smart. So you have to be able to innovate and be able to add that. And this slide right here talks about standards over feelings. You have to kind of check out your day. Like what type of standards are you holding, right? Like what time are you getting up? Are you working out in the morning? Are you eating clean, drinking water, right? These are all like basics. Because like the average person isn't doing this. And it's easy to be able to take those people out, right? So this is a pretty like competitive world, right? And if you just do the basics long enough, consistently over a long period of time, you'll be able to gain so much momentum and not only like being able to help impact more people, but also confidence in yourself. Because the more that you actually show up for yourself, the more confidence you gain, right? So discipline is actually built over a long period of time. And, if I look back 3 years ago, being 65 pounds heavier, not happy with myself, almost losing my marriage, I really look at, finding God in my life, slowing down to be able to have God in my life, slowing down to be able to take care of myself, because I can't take care of other people if I'm not taking care of myself, right? So you want to be the example, and especially in this world, you can separate yourself, because like, once you start taking care of yourself, you'll start attracting people, because who you become as a leader, you'll attract people to you. People that want to learn from you. People that want to work with you. People that want to be able to partner with you. And that's where the people that are taking care of their personal life could be able to scale so much faster. So that's why standards over feelings. You want to make sure that you're disciplined. You're setting these different targets in your calendar. You're showing up on time. And then the first couple of times, I was trying to wake up earlier, and I just set my alarm a little bit earlier, 15 minutes, and then finally kept on pushing that back until I finally can get up at 4:30. Before I was used to just waking up and just starting my work day. So And then here's like the biggest thing, right, in business. Like we have a lot of business owners that we coach. We have business owners that are like, 9-figure business owners. We've got guys that are starting off in sales. And the biggest thing that we find that if you're losing at home, then like losing at home always shows up at work. And so like the home life is everything. When you're at home, you want to be present. Like Andy always says, be where your feet are. Because your family doesn't need all your time throughout the day, right? They're very happy. I know my wife gets sick of me after a certain amount of time, but the time that like I am with her, she wants me to be present, right? She wants me to be able to be off my phone, listening to her, not trying to solve her problems, and just being present. And then your kids don't want all your evening, but they when you're there, you want to be present, right? And a lot of people kind of forget this. And like living in this era of social media, and TikTok, like the kids are actually finding other people to look up to. And that was the one thing that Andy was like saying, like he actually doesn't want his kids to look up to somebody else, right? So it's up to us to be the men of the house, to be there, to be examples, so like your kids can be able to actually look up to, So I really admire watching you, the way that you're coaching your son, and you're very involved in his life, So that's amazing. And then by doing that, it's just showing him a good example for his future kids. And then this side right here it's about stop playing defense, man. A lot of people are just defensive. They're very reactive, They're because they're not planning ahead. Like they don't have a vision of where they want to go in life. Like they're just waiting for like next week, the next paycheck, the next job, right? And if you're just like not planning what it looks like over the next 5 years of your business, if you don't have the vision, you'll only get the leftovers, right? Because there are other people out there that are dominating, that are winning in your industry, that are actually planning things out, and they're like literally setting up systems in place, right? Like if you don't take the time to be able to lay out your vision and what it looks like for your next 5 years and implement it and actually put systems in place, you're always going to have a job, right? I mean, there's the trades is amazing. There's so much potential. I know flooring guys doing $20 million a year. That all they do is, he hired a CEO or COO that runs his business for him. He just goes in there and plants the vision, right? And he's not any different, right? So it's a matter of just you taking it step by step and then learning to be able to actually duplicate yourself, right? Learning to be able to have the business model and then find somebody that's already done what you're trying to do, and then help them, and allow them to be able to help you, right? Because there's only so much that we know. And then I'm still learning from like guys like Andy, and even our clients, man. Our clients, they come in, some of them are 9-figure business owners, So when you're open to be able to learn, there's so much information out there. But a lot of people are just ego and pride gets in the way. And if you allow ego and pride get in the way, it actually it blocks your blessing. Right, so being aware. I mean, having Jeremy around, he's so always aware. He's always so courteous. Like all the guys are just probably all sharing all kinds of stuff with you because they trust you, right? And so like if you're around the right circles, I mean, you're probably getting all kinds of information, and
sure.
So yeah.
They hold high standards for me too.
Yeah.
They have tough love too. They're great guys, but they're very loving.
Yeah. So like the biggest thing I've learned being around Andy Elliott. Andy's like, don't follow me because of my name. Don't follow me because the person I am. Follow me because of the habits. Follow me because of the standards that I hold. Right? If I don't hold the standards, then go follow somebody else. Like a guy like Andy is insane when it comes to training. There's nobody that out trains him. He spent millions of dollars. So he's made he built a 9-figure business. But he spent $8 million in like personal development and in learning and coaching, right? So don't look at that number. Just actually look at what you're investing, right? Like it's always a percentage, right? So like how much is your entertainment budget compared to how much is your investment budget in yourself? Have you invested in training? Have you bought a seminar ticket? Have you attended to go get better, right? Because a lot of people don't look at that because it's not a normal thing to the average the average person, but the people that are successful and wealthy, they invest. It's like tithing at church. You gotta like be willing to invest into your future. And that's where you're able to learn from some of these mistakes and then their successes and actually collapse the learning time frame. So coming from a family that was immigrants, my dad was making $14 an hour, after he retired for 20-some years. I finally figured, I was like, man, that's all you made? But he never leveled up. He never got a mentor. He never got a coach, And then like in sales, I've been able to do, making more in 1 month than my parents did in 2 years, right? I mean, like that's the stuff that sales can do by learning the skill. Learning a skill is like riding a bike. Once you ride a bike, you can't unlearn it. I mean, it's like rolling on the mat. You just have to learn the right skills that the marketplace is willing to pay for, because the value you bring, your paycheck, is what the value in the marketplace, owes you, right? Like if you want to be able to raise your paycheck, you got to raise the value that you bring to the marketplace. And a lot of it's just social skills. Can you connect with somebody? Do people want to listen to you? Can you ask for a big offer, right? There's people selling flooring, and there's people that will charge twice as much because they have the confidence. They walk in a room, they feel good, they've been working out, they're jacked, like they feel good, and they're actually able to present an offer. So it's the same flooring, it's the same labor, but how come one person can actually get more, right? It's because of the confidence in themselves.
Yeah, that's right.
So I have a 90-day challenge that I want to, kind of put out there. Number one, I want to make sure that I want you to alter your energy. Like, what are you doing in the mornings for your positive self-talk? I want you to be able to speak positive to yourself. Find some sort of affirmation, something that we just were saying earlier, something to be able to help get you engaged, right? Because a lot of people have this negative self-talk. The enemy wants you to doubt yourself, to be fearful, to be scared to offer, scared to go shake hands with people that, because we're all one handshake away from changing everything, right? And so I want you to alter your energy, because if you guys are focused in the morning, you're speaking, life into yourself, you're opening the Bible, you're praying, because all that just brings the right energy, right? Working out, like these are all things you're doing for yourself, right? And then the second thing is I want you guys to just master the basics, man. Coach John Wooden was a Hall of Fame coach for the UCLA Bruins. He coached guys that were like All-Americans, right? Back in the day. And then the first day of practice, the things that he would practice was, he would train his students was how they actually put their socks on, how they actually tie their shoes to actually prevent them from having blisters, right? It wasn't like learning all these different tricks and stuff. It was like the basics. And a lot of us forget the basics. And I love how Jeremy teaches like the basics. You can't like put all this paint up unless you actually learn how to be able to clean and tape and prevent all that stuff. If you don't do all that, it's going to be a mess afterwards, right? So we have to just always have that mentality of getting back to the basics, like taking care of yourself, just drinking water, cutting back on devices, sleeping, telling your wife, you love her, right? Like the basics, right? And then a lot of us, we get so busy and we actually forget this stuff. And these are all stuff that's common sense, right? To like, if you start doing it, if you don't do it, then you actually kind of veer off. And the next one is actually set some non-negotiable standards for the week. Like, what is it? Get up early and get to the gym. I know it's hard at first, right, for you to do it.
It's still hard, man.
Yeah, but
2:30 in the morning.
yeah, but once you do it, after a consistent amount of time, your body just automatically, right? I mean, is there a vice that that's holding you guys back? A lot of guys are they have bondage, right? When it comes to pornography, when it comes to vaping, smoking cigarettes, just all this stuff, social media, right? It's taking your attention from like the things that you can do. Yeah. So I just challenge you to be better, right? It's a standard. So things that nobody can see, but like God sees it, and then deep down you're doing it, and it holds you back, right? So I want you to go through and just clean up, yourself. And the fourth thing is that, schedule, for the husband, schedule a date night. Like I want you guys to be very just present, man, with your wife. You know, it's very important, right? Or girlfriend. Just make sure that, you know, you're scheduling that. And then the last one is like make one bold offensive move every day. I mean, we all have a chicken list. We all have people that is our ideal client, right? We have people like this, I don't know, builders or somebody. Like, be bold, man. I mean, some of the biggest decisions that I've had is I've been, you know, because the worst people can say is no. I mean, I've approached some of the biggest guys and like, oh, I land the contract, you know. So be bold this week, you know, because the worst they can say is no, right? So like when you start doing enough of these bold actions, you start building that muscle. Whereas now it's no big deal, you know. So like at the LD group, I'm known for like networking. I can go like wherever and meet like the people, right? But it wasn't comfortable at first, like years ago. But I've done it so many times, you know, to be able to shake hands and meet people. So, you know, the biggest things that will help you grow in life are the handshakes the people that you meet, and then the books that you read. You know, so you gotta always continue like be growing and be stretching yourself. And then, you know, you have to decide every single day, you know, are you average or are you elite? Because I know there are people out there that are coming for your jobs. I know there are people out there that are coming for it all. There are some dogs out there. And so like unless you actually become that dog, which we all have inside of us, right? I know at one point I wasn't. At one point I was comfortable. And you know, there was a book called there's a book that talks about the enemy doesn't want to just to kill you or take you out. You know, the enemy just wants you to be comfortable. Because if you're comfortable, he calls it a drifter. If you don't have goals to follow, you're not around people that are driven, and you barely even like, you know, make it through life, and you're just like stuck all the time, then he wins, right? Because you never actually break your bloodline. You never become that successful person where like they tell stories about you because you played small, right? And then like we're around so many successful people that they're all the same, you know, but they're just more disciplined, right? Like they do things that like the average person doesn't want to do, you know, like they sleep in, they're drinking alcohol, they're wasting their weekends, right? So just know that if you just dial things in, you'll find your circle, you know. So for me, it was like understanding that I had to cut out some people in my life, you know, and like even some family members, right, that are not always like supportive about everything. So I'm just very selective with the time. So if you guys kind of audit everything, and you know, being elite is execution, working towards pressure, being present today, and just having ownership in your life. Because no one's coming to save you. Like literally, like I like look back in like the multiple decades. I mean, I'm 46, and there was nobody that came to save me. It was always myself, having self-awareness of where I was at, not being happy, and then making a change. You know, when I was 40 years old in Michigan, I was like, you know what? I'm not happy with where I'm at. I can't find the perfect job. I just picked up and moved to California. Started over, got into solar, made millions of dollars in solar, and then like met Andy Elliott, and then like he's in Arizona. I'm moving, picked up and moved, you know, and like I find that people that are successful, they make decisions quick. A lot of people, they drag their feet, and like the people that drag their feet, they're not decisive. They can't like, you know, they can't decide on what to order on the menu. They're just not decisive. You know, there's like always like, I see people that are successful, they decide, right? Because you can't buy your time back, you know? And they're so scared to spend money, right? Like money replenishes, but time doesn't. So we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So I just challenge you guys, you know, to be elite, be quick, be decisive, you know, be surrounded by the right people, have positive self-talk, and just continue, man, just to be able to trust God, you know, because it's not going to be laid out, but I promise you, if you take that first step, He'll be there alongside of you. So thank you. Thank you guys for your time.
All right. Thank you for taking the time to come out here and speak to
Yeah.
my group here. This is going to go out to a few more people too because it's recorded. Hey, guys, I thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you got something out of Jimmy's testimony and some of the principles that he was teaching up here. These guys are elite. They are the top of the 1%, and they go out and they crush it every single day, and they have high standards and they hold each other accountable. And that's why I love hanging around the office in the gym with these guys, Kobe, Luke, and Keith and Randall. All you guys are just amazing. And if you guys want any information about how you can be involved in attending some of these seminars, some of these coaching events, some of these things that they put on, they are the best in the world at business coaching. They are the fastest growing business coaching company in the world and sales training company on the planet. So reach out to me or the Andy Elliott group. You can find them online. I believe it's elliott247.com. And my personal CRM number with our team is 480-470-1872. If you want to reach out to us via text, we'd be more than happy to answer questions that you have. If you are a 1 to 2 year business owner and you're in the trades, whether it's going to be roofing or painting or drywall, whatever it is, reach out to me. Come to the next event, April 24th. We're going to have a lot more people, and it's going to be a lot of great energy, and we would love to see you there. Thank you so much, guys, and have a great week.